The secret is simply realizing that everything is always happening for you. It doesn't matter how overwhelming it might look, it's always happening for you. Baby daddy wants to come back for the first time in 16 years. Well, for the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time in 16 years, and wanting to try to stir up chaos in your world that you have worked 16 years to create stability in. Don't worry. Everything is happening for you. Whether or not he actually commits this time to what he's saying, or he's trying to just use you in a false narrative to get attention and get support from people who know him, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it's all going to work out for you. For you. For you. It's all going to work out for you. For you. For you. It's going to work out for you. Your child's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. It doesn't matter if he is not actually willing to try to put forth any effort. The thing is, this time around, when it comes to that situation in particular for me, this time around, it's like before years, when my son was 2, when my son was 4, when my son was 6, when my son was 8, it would put me into this spiral of anxiety and stress. Like, oh, he wants to come back again out of nowhere, and oh, my finances, how am I supposed to afford this? And my child, like, how am I supposed to balance everything? Like, I'm so overwhelmed, like, and then, like, what if he just tries to take him out of nowhere? And at this point, my son's 16 though. And at this point, I have learned, like, everything that happens is for me. He's gonna try to come back now, or he's gonna come back when my son is an adult, like my biological father did, and not really be held liable for anything he should do as a father, except for have the title and feel better for himself, like my father did. But, like, it's either going to happen now or it's going to happen later, and I'd rather it happen underneath my guidance, because my son did go through mental health. So my first instinct is to be like, what about my son's mental health, knowing the instability of his father's behavior in the past being very self-motivated. Like, even the message he sent to me literally hardly had anything to talk about my son, all to talk about himself. Like, literally. And when I responded, and I was like, no. And, I responded with, here's how you can be a part of his life. Like, just like I've said every other time you've come back around, here is exactly how you can start the steps of being involved. But we're going to cancel the narrative that you've put out there that I have kept you from being a father. You have always had the opportunity to be a father. You have just been, I've just no longer allowed you to manipulate my storyline to fit what your narrative is to feel better for yourself. So, like, my son's not going to be used as a way to be exploited for your personal gain and your emotional gain. That's what I'm protecting. I could give two shits about me ever seeing anything about you as a good person. I don't give a shit about it. I don't give a shit. We're never going to be friends. That's just the fact. I don't care about you ever gaining respect from me. Flip it and reverse it, I do care about you gaining the respect for my son and being respectful of my son. I do look at my son receiving better treatment when you do come in than I ever expect for myself to be treated by you. That's just the fact. No hard feelings, but that's just the fact. Like, I've given up trying to worry about or trying to hope for you, but I will hold you accountable to the words that you say to my son to be upheld, or to be reprimanded for not being upheld by the court of law. You know what I mean? I'm going to hold your standards of what you say to my son higher than what I hold your standards to what you say to me. Does that make sense? It's all working out for your greatest and highest good. Whether or not, in this situation, whether or not he stays, whatever. This time around, I have a feeling like the chapter's either going to close or it's going to open. This whole narrative that I've used to have to stay quiet about my truth of what I've been through at the hands of this person, and because I was protecting my child and just trying to survive. 16 years of survival mode can really do it to you. For me, obviously my son's my priority. His mental health 100% is the biggest concern for me, and I mentioned that in the email, and I mentioned my son's mental struggles he had recently overcome, and that if he wants to return, I expect him to be financially responsible for the counseling, preparation, and continuation services my son will need, and the cost of that is X, Y, and Z. I know the cost of that because I paid the cost of that when he first went through his mental health struggles on my own. I understand that it's overwhelming financially, but I don't give a shit about you being overwhelmed financially, having to take care of my son's emotions, because you want to come back. And that's the cost of your return of what you did. That's the consequence of what you did. That is putting my son's needs above your own needs for what you did to him wanting to return back. And he's over here trying to say, well, I can't afford that. I'm like, sorry, Charlie, but like, why would you expect me to have to make sure I pay for the consequences of your actions to make sure my son is safe, while you come in and not really want to pay hardly anything towards his mental health for what you did to him? It doesn't make sense to me. It's so funny because other situations, like, I see it. I see all. There's storylines for everyone's situation. My storyline's definitely not the typical storyline. Even my brother's ex-wife tried to like take him from ever having anything to do with their son they had together when they were married, and like was trying to take as much money from my brother's pockets as possible. And let me tell you something. My brother's a good guy. He was a good dad. He wasn't a great husband at the end. But that didn't mean that she needed to try to take every single ounce of, like, every single bit of money from my brother to make it hard. And her family's wealthy. Every single bit of money from my brother to make it to where he could barely survive because for child support, and also remove my brother's ability to see his son but once every 2 weekends. I'm not doing that. And that's a typical thing that happens with a lot of people. They go after the money and they try and take the child away from the dad altogether. I never did that. I actually was the one trying to co-parent the whole entire time. I was the one who was trying the whole entire time, and always very open about returning. But then I had boundaries about, like, we're not doing this whole game shenanigans. We're not doing this. You're either going to come in, you're going to start paying child support. We're going to have it legally legally finalized, our agreement, because I'm not going to do, your word means nothing to me. Your word is bullshit to me. You're going to be held accountable for your words to the court of law. That's become my boundary, and it's become like, everyone's like, you should just go sit and have coffee with him. Why would I fucking go sit and have coffee with him? Who in the right mind wants to look at the person who's been raising the child by themselves and be like, you should just go sit and have coffee for him. We're praying for restoration for your family. Okay, well, thanks for praying for restoration for my family, but what does that mean to you? Because restoration to me means my child has peace. And restoration to you means that he gets to be involved with his child again. But he's never been withheld from being involved. And I guess that's, like, to be honest, this whole situation coming back when my son's 16 is like, I'm just like, everything works out for our greatest and highest good. It really does. This time around, I really feel like my son's older. I've gone through enough where I'm also way more confident than I used to be. I used to be very manipulative. I used to be able to be manipulated very easily. I'm not anymore. I'm very vocal. I know who I am. I walk in my steps. And if there's one thing about me, I have walked my walk that I've talked for 16 years now. I've never wavered from the truth. But I have not been telling everybody my story, even though he's been telling everybody a whole different narrative. But this time around, I'm telling everyone the truth. I'm going to show the emails. I'm going to show what you're saying to me. And I'm going to show my response being like, here you go. Also holding you accountable for not generalizing a storyline about what happened. I'm going to tell you, like, do you remember what happened? Because I lived it. You can't make a new storyline to me. We're not going to pretend like you're a new person to me. You can be a new person to other people, but you're still the same person as you were, because your word still has no value. And, that's just the fact, because you are expecting just to come back without having any of the responsibilities of what that's going to mean to come back, because you value yourself more than you value, like, actually doing the right thing. But this time around, I feel like the truth is coming out and the light's coming out, and then whether he stays or not, it's just going to benefit us, because we actually get to start living our truth and just close a chapter or move on with the chapter. Stop with this whole trying to halfway read the book or open the book to look, but I'm done. You're either in or you're out. Like, in or out. In or out. In or out. We're ready to move forward with our life. We're ready to end this chapter of our lives. So you're either going to be in or you're out, buddy. And that's like the hindsight. You have to look at everything in hindsight. It's always for a reason. And I believe this time around it's because we're getting ready to go into a new season. New seasons allow old seasons to finalize. These things come up out of nowhere, not to cause chaos, but to allow it to have resolve. Because you're about to enter into a new season of life. But if you resist resolving it, then you can't enter into the new season.